All right. Hello out there, all my residential anchors. How was the week? How are you doing? Are you ready for this Iowa game? It is going to be a fantastic game. Thank you so much for joining me. I know this is a late video, late Friday night video. I wanted to get a video out because I've been slacking this week on the content, and I'm going to tell you why. I've been doing a ton of rain dances. Make sure this is not muted. So finally, last week, we get a ton of rain. If you know, I mow grass, so it's like finally this week, everything's just like blowing up everywhere. So you can tell I'm sunburned. And today I had obligations to go to the fair with my daughter. We had a great time out there. The DeKalb County Free Fall Fair. Is this on? Put your comments on here. But thank you so much for joining me. I know this is a late video, so anybody comment in if you want to talk about the Iowa game, because look, this is I got a great feeling about this game. I don't know why, because out there in Iowa, it could go awry very, very quickly. I remember when, Michael Penix went out there with the Hoosiers on that team, and that was a game following a year where we thought we had high expectations, we were going to do high things, and Indiana made some mistakes in that game, and it came unraveled really quick. Some quick stats. First, Indiana has not won there since 2007 at Iowa. So it's a tough coach. We're going to talk about his coaching style and what he's going to try to do to Indiana. Can Indiana mitigate that early and pounce on them early? That is what I think the game plan for Indiana has to be. But we're going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about their quarterback. Ooh, excuse me. Eating those steak sandwiches out there at the DeKalb County Free Fall Fair. I'm telling you, you got to get out there. All right. Everything is yes, the mustache for the win. You know what happened? I had the guard on my razor, and I was trying to shave this bottom part just a little bit, and the thing fell off, and I nicked the whole thing right here, and I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do? So it's like a half Fu Manchu. There you go. Silver Shire, thanks for showing up. And yeah, this is not my normal time for videos. And most people know. I mean, originally this was a basketball channel. I am amazed that, we get 1,000 views on the football live stream videos and stuff like that. So hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the thumbs up button. It pumps these videos out. Like, imagine like YouTube is this giant pump. And every time you hit that thumbs up button, so what happens when you hit the thumbs up button, it'll send the video to 10 more people. Whether those are Hoosier fans or not, they could be potential Hoosier fans. And if you want to be a residential anchor, you want to be a part of it, you want to be a part of this channel, then go ahead and do that. And it's also brought to you by Grassmasters. If you need your grass mowed, go ahead and call the Stash Master at Grassmasters, and we'll get you done. 863-397-3518. I have a lot of services right now going on. It's a great time to fertilize. It's a great time to do a nitrogen blitz on your lawn and get it. You want to pump in as much as you can at this time of year. That way in the spring, it looks fantastic before everybody else. I'm going to tell you. So let's get into talking about some of the matchups in this game for Indiana. And look, the main thing you have to know about this coach and his name, I don't know why I cannot say it, but the winningest coach in all of the Big Ten. He is the winningest coach in all of the Big Ten right now. So this dude knows what he's doing, and he can put together an offensive line. He is going to want to run the ball. They love to run the ball right up the middle. I was watching this Iowa podcast or listening to it a couple days ago and listening to him talk about like how he develops his teams. Center guard position are like paramount to his running style. So he looks for some of the best centers and guards all around the country so that he can play this style of play. So that being said, I do think that could be a little bit risky going up against an Indiana team that might boat race you before. I was going to try to turn this into a slog of a game. I mean, they're really going to. And if they can start pushing the ball up the middle, Now, our defensive line so far, I mean, against Illinois, they were unbelievable. And, by all accounts, Illinois had a pretty decent offensive line. I mean, Iowa's offensive line is going to be a step above because they got better coaching and Signetti and I gotta look this dude's name up. Somebody put it on there. I just looked at it like 2 seconds ago, but Kurt Ferenz. Yeah. Ferenz. Not forensic files, but Kurt Ferenz, he he's been around a long time and this is what he coaches at Iowa. I mean, and and then this is the biggest road game that Kurt Signetti's ever played in. This will blow Michigan State. What we saw at Michigan State last year, it will blow Michigan State right out of the fucking water. I mean, it really will. Michigan State, we clobbered them. That game was on Peacock last year too. So this game, 3:30 tomorrow on Peacock. Phil Simms on the color commentary. I saw that and I'm like, I have not watched a game in a long time. Phil Simms, remember he lost his job to Tony Romo. So yeah. So it's going to be a great afternoon, and we're going to talk next about. Well, Pharrell is back for the season for the Hoosiers. We found that out this week. They passed that by the judge, and I love it. Go, go, go! Google me. That's right. Here we come. But Pharrell back for the season. So that brings me to one of my points of this game is that the Indiana, they came out with this thing. They came out with this thing that I was looking at on this chart, but like how defenses are opportunistic, and it shows like what types of plays, and it was all charted on this chart. And I did think that it was very interesting. Let's bring this up because Indiana's secondary makes a ton of plays, and this chart really does reveal that. They always change the settings on here, and here we go. So yeah, I thought this is so interesting. You see on this chart that Indiana is like way out here on the edge, and they make a ton of plays with their secondary. You tell like over here, like these are the teams that make um so the and sorry, my eyesight. But yeah, so on the one side, it's defensive plays, tackles for loss, and then on the side going this way, it's um it's more like tip passes, all things that would be in the secondary. So Indiana is kind of funny how they are such a outlier and they're still really high up on the thing because they have a ton of tackles for losses. And yes, they have not played like an Ohio State or somebody like that. So yeah, they got a lot of tackles for losses against teams, Kennesaw State or whatever. But this is what we've seen in every single game. I mean, Kurt Signetti's 15-2. It's amazing that we've watched 17 games already of the Kurt Signetti era, but I can't doubt him at this point. It is so hard to really doubt what you've seen so far because this team has played so complimentary. And even, I mean, this year against Illinois, I mean, that was a straight up blowout. But in other games last year, when they played Michigan State, when they played that game was tight early. Michigan State, if you remember, they were chanting overrated. We ended up blowing them out of the water. The Maryland game last year, it was a little bit tight early. This team needs to play a game like that. Hopefully this game, and I don't want to see it, but we know that adversity is what builds champions, builds heroes. But you do want to see them play in a tight game. I want to see it going to halftime and it's going to be a slog of a game. I keep thinking Indiana's going to be able to blow them out. Indiana's going to be able to do this and that. And I think, is Iowa going to be able to pick up a certain amount of first downs? Now, Iowa has a different type of quarterback this year. It is not like the typical um it is not the typical Iowa quarterback that just hands the ball off and really just stands back there like a statue and doesn't do anything. This dude and his name, it's not Rob Gronkowski, it's Mark Gronkowski, coming from the law firm Gronkowski and Sons, but he's a San Diego State transfer. This dude that I was reading about is the most accomplished quarterback in the history of NCAA football. He's got like 2 FCS championships. Just out, yes, he did that all at lower levels, but I mean, we had a Curtis Rourke that did it at Ohio, and it can translate. And I did watch him play in the Rutgers game because that was on last Friday night, and you could really tell that in that game it was a different type of Iowa offense. And that brings me from thinking about that game, the return game. Iowa has a unbelievable returner. I think he's averaging I got all of their stats pulled up here, so let's get right into it so we can talk about the stats of Iowa's team here, the player stats. Oh God. I just had it pulled up, but I just want to make sure that it's really accurate because I know this dude, he's averaging 30 something yards on the returns right now. And I saw that in the Rutgers game. So, Signetti so far, all 3 phases, I mean, he's been able to block punts. He's been able to get some things done on the special teams. And, Indiana has really returned some punts. So, yeah, I want to get this guy in the kicking game. And ESPN, they don't even have those stats up. They just have their kicker stats, but they don't have the return stats. But let's get into Gronkowski. I mean, he is 49 to 81 on the season, 492 yards. I mean, nowhere near. I mean, I looked at that and I thought, I mean, that's a game and a half of Indiana, 492 yards. Because Mendoza's been right around 300 just about every game, and I don't think he's even played all the full games. But Patterson, the running back, I mean, they kind of switch it up. They got Patterson and Xavier Williams. He's got 34 carries for 198 yards. Patterson does 5.8 average. And then Williams, he switches it up a little bit and comes in at a 7.2 average on 26 carries, 186 yards. So, and then Gronkowski is just a dual threat quarterback. This dude is going to run around. That could be the X factor in this game. I feel stupid saying that now because I know that was exactly what I said about Illinois' quarterback. And there was a time early on in that Illinois game where I thought, if he starts running the ball, quarterback sneaking, Indiana, but Indiana doesn't play a lot of man coverage. So it is harder to run against a zone spread like Indiana. So how do you think this is all going to play out? Leave it in the comments down below. I've gone back and forth on this game all week. And thank God we got a ton of rain here because the grass, everything's starting to look fantastic. Even the crops really needed it to kind of finish out and everything like that. But here's one note I wrote. Will Iowa start to get creative? That is something to keep an eye on. Will there be, could Indiana's defense really stuff them up front early on? And I think Indiana has the type of defensive line. What we saw out of the guys like Langford last week, and I keep messing this dude's name up. I'm telling you, I'm terrible with like different names. Um, because yeah, Jones has 3 sacks. Tucker has three. Yeah, Tucker up front. Tucker and Landino up front. Those two dudes, they were two guys totally. I mean, I'm just gonna admit it. They were not known to me. I mean, I've known, Kamara and Jones and Fisher and different guys. I mean, these guys were totally unknown and just balled out last week. I mean, they could not block them up front. It could be a totally different situation because what we talked about earlier, Iowa, they are definitely going to if you're trying to run the ball up in there, we'll see. And they're gonna try to double team with the center and guard and bust that hole up. But that would be as comfortable as I would be. Like if they were up 10 at the half in this game, I would be very, very happy with that. And their defensive end that we really need to block up is he's got another weird name too. It's Llewellyn, and it's like double L. There's two double L's in this name. This dude's been at Iowa for a long time, and he's finally getting his chance to play, and he's playing really, really great so far. So Indiana's going to have to block him up. I think the Indiana offense is going to score points in this game. I think that no matter what, I just think the way the offensive has looked so far and the way that it got so crisp last week, and I think they're finally on the right track. And I think our offense is the type of offense that you can't really key in on one guy. Umar Cooper makes like a great block on the end to spring Kalon Black. Elijah Surratt makes great blocks on the outside. Those are the difference makers, and that is why a Kurt Signetti team gets those big breakout plays because they are so well coached, and that is really the story of Kurt Signetti. Yes, he's bringing in talented players. Yes, he's getting more and more talented players here. I did see somebody put this on X, and I thought, yeah, like why does nobody ever talk about this or say this? And it's because Indiana is the most losingest football program in the history of the world. But why would somebody not say that Indiana could take it all in the playoff? I mean, if Mendoza wins this game, then you got a big game next week on the road against Oregon. But that's why this game, you really got to win this game. You can lose that game to Oregon. You can play them tough. You can do a lot of things and lose to Oregon and lose to Penn State. If Indiana loses to Oregon and Penn State in a close fashion, not that that's what I want to happen, but they will be in the college football playoff. If they win this Iowa game, and I do think that this Iowa game is very key to that because I do think that it puts them on another level than what they did last year. And let's just face it, they didn't have some super, super tough road games. So you go ahead, you win this game at Iowa. You already beat a ranked Illinois team last week. I think where I'd be thinking they are, even though they do have the tougher games coming up that they might lose, or one of those might go one way or the other or anything. I think Penn State might be a team that Indiana might be able to take down. Maybe Penn State doesn't have enough great wide receivers on the outside, and Indiana can get some pressure on them. But we'll talk about that later on. But I do have a feeling about that. Oregon, I don't know so much. That can be very, very difficult to go out to Oregon. That's a tough place to play. Tough to go out to the Northeast. And from what I've seen out of Oregon, and I watched that OSU game, was really tough. So the way this is wrapping up, this Iowa game is going to be super, super key. So, thank you so much for everybody for joining me. Share the video, spread the video around, and thank you so much for being here. And yeah, go Hoosiers. I am super pumped about the game. Maybe like half of my voice is gone, and it's at night, and I live in an apartment, so I don't want to be like screaming and yelling right now, but I have to say, I am so pumped about this because it's just like, uh, it's so nice to be part of football, you know? And we've not been part of football for a long, long time. We're just excluded. Every time, I mean, I watch every Indiana game. I mean, I've always watched every Indiana game, any Indiana football game, and I'm always looking for the big upset. And you know, it never happens. And now we have something because this is fun. Where I mean, you go 4-0. You beat Iowa because what happens now is every single game just gets ratcheted up as this goes on. We head towards Thanksgiving. Every single game gets ratcheted up. Every single situation when we're playing at home, we bring in and the fans get more and more crazy. And it happened last year, and I think we just got to catch lightning in the bottle 2 times in a row, and to tell you the truth, it's not even lightning in the bottle. It's just Kurt Cignetti is a damn good coach. A lot of people out there don't wanna give him credit for it because he's doing it in Indiana, but I will tell you, this is the place for Kurt Cignetti because we are the little engine that could, the losingest program of all time, and if you wanted to make a legacy for yourself doing anything in football, do it at Indiana because, like, by all accounts, why should Indiana not be damn good at football? And if you look back at our history, a lot of our small towns in Indiana, we didn't have enough players to play football. That's why we've always been a basketball state, a basketball everything, because it's way easier to get 5 farm kids together from a county like DeKalb County, or if you live in a small town like Auburn or Garrett or Huntertown, anywhere. But it was just that was never Indiana's thing. Ohio, Michigan, they got a lot bigger cities. They are a lot more urban than we are, so they were able to develop football. So that's why they hate it so much. But this day and age, look, Indiana's got tons of donor money coming in. We got one of the biggest donor bases. I think the biggest not donor base, but the biggest alumni base, and all of that. It goes so far for building a program in 2025, bringing in the right coach, and you know, by all accounts, with the money we have coming in, and hopefully it keeps flowing, you'll just keep seeing Cignetti bring in better and better recruits and keep that process going. And I think we have a great thing here, and I think he's going to stay for a long time. But tell me what you think about all of it in the comments down below. Go Hoosiers in the Iowa game tonight. I'll make some shorts and stuff like that during the game. So subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned. I got a lot more videos coming out, and I got a lot more videos about Indiana basketball coming out too. They're doing another open practice for the media, and I'm trying to get into that one and do some filming there and stuff like that. So it's okay to Texas. Yeah, damn Texas. They're always big at everything. And they got that Matthew McConaughey on the side. That's what we need. We need like one. We need like an icon dude to be kind of like our liaison on the sideline. Not Mark Cuban, but somebody super cool that went to Indiana. But oh my god, I just turned the camera off. Well, the camera turned off here for some reason. What the heck just happened here? Thank you for joining me on Indiana Sports Connection. Until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.